Hi, I'm Mary Beth Stapleton, Manager of Family and Community Partnerships for Harford County Public Schools. Thank you for joining the Parent Academy Real Talk on helping our children learn to read. With me today is Ms. Kathy Griffin, who is our Coordinator of Early Childhood Education in Harford County Public Schools. Thanks for joining me, Kathy.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Well, this is such an exciting time for our families with young learners because they're beginning to start the school year, hear from their teachers about how the beginning of the year has gone. And so thinking about that, I know that homeschool partnership for our young learners is essential.
Yes, especially in early childhood.
Yes, exactly. So thinking about that for parents, really specifically for pre-K, K, first and second, we really want to get our kids ready to read, and we thought you would be the best resource to talk to us about that.
Absolutely.
Very good. So to get us started, really just simply, how do parents help their children learn to read? How can they do that at home? What are some ideas and some suggestions?
So some very simple, very easy ideas. Before you're starting with reading, you're starting at birth.
So as soon as they're born?
As soon as they're born.
Wow.
You're starting reading, but
Right.
You're also talking to your children.
Right.
So just simple conversations, listening to them, expanding their vocabulary, explaining if you see something, explaining what it is, and just having conversations. That is the best way to start a child being literate and ready to read. So from that, you're just going to have simple conversations. You're going to engage your child and not ask, how was your day? Was it good? Yes or no.
Oh.
But it'll have them elaborate. What did you do today? What was your favorite part of the day? And just have discussions with children.
So when you're out and about, and I've seen, I've done it myself, I've seen other parents doing it. So you're in the grocery store, how many lemons do you see? Let's count them. How many apples do you see? Things like that. So that does actually prepare them for reading as well?
It actually does, because it's developing some vocabulary and words that children don't know. It's helping them listen and speak and communicate and answer questions. So from that, you're going to move on and you're going to read to your child. Mm-hmm. And the best books to read are your children's favorite books, something that they're interested in, whether it be animals or dinosaurs or cartoon characters. So you're just going to pick some of your child's favorite books. You might find some of those books at the public library, at your school, at the store. You might find digital copies. So you're just going to look for some books, and with your child, you're just going to enjoy reading. Mm-hmm. So you're always going to look at the front of the book. You're going to talk about the title, what the book is called, look at those pictures on the book, and you and your child can kind of predict or guess what's going to happen in the story. So then you can have some conversations about what the story is going to be about. And then you're going to read the story with your child. It's always great when you can cuddle up like at bedtime or sit on the sofa and read a story together so you're close and be able to see that book. And that way the child can see the pictures as you're reading. As children get older, 4 and 5-year-olds, sometimes they like to track the print. So that means that they're basically going to use their finger and touch the words that their parent is reading. Children might find some letters from the alphabet in the book that are included in words that they know or that they wonder about. So maybe mom or dad or grandparent or a friend would tell them about the letters, tell them about some of the sight words or those often seen high frequency words such as I, the, can, see. And so that will help the children be able to read with you once they're, getting the gist and starting to learn.
Great. And is there a thought around how often? So you said at bedtime every night. I know I did that when my kids were little. So is it really just having that consistent everyday time for reading together?
I would definitely suggest to have a consistent time, whether it be when you get home from work, before dinner, after dinner, a specific time of night, or right before bed. So it's great to read 5, 10, depending on the age of the child. So I would recommend from birth to 2, like 5 to 10 minutes. And then from 2 to 5, 10 to 15 minutes.
Great. And then do you suggest during that time, like you said, as kids get a little older, trying to let them read a little bit with you, or do sometimes you just really want to have that kind of parent reading to the child? What's the best way, or is it both?
It's kind of both.
Okay.
So, when a parent is reading, you can talk about the pictures, you can talk about words that you might not know in the book, and discuss the vocabulary. When you're finished reading the story, children can retell the story, what happened first, what happened in the middle, and what happened at the end. You can ask your child some personal connection questions, such as, how did that make you feel? Did you like this? Why did you like it? Why did you not like it? You can ask them, well, what happened to this person in the story? And ask them comprehension questions about what actually happened that they've read about. And then you can have your child join with you in reading.
So it sounds like that parent is really just essential for your child to be successful in reading. You really are essential to that. And so as a parent, we really want to encourage our parents to read as much as possible at home. And like you said, if they get a little tired, maybe get an older sibling to read to the child, or grandmom or granddad or auntie or whoever to kind of step in and take over from time to time. But that's really helpful information. Thank you so much for being here today.
Absolutely. And we will have some parent tips.
Oh, great.
So then parents can view the tips.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
So with me now is Jennifer Brosh, who is our Title I Early Childhood Teacher Specialist at George D.
Lisby.
Very
Yes.
good. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
So we're going to talk a little bit more about how to support our young learners and their moms and dads and aunties and uncles and everybody in supporting their reading. So that said, we know it's the first quarter of the school year. So our parents will get some information home from their child's teacher. So with that information, just if you could clarify what some of those words might mean on that report, and how do parents understand what they mean?
Absolutely. So parents will receive, next to the indicator being graded, they will receive information on whether the child is not evident with the skill, developing in the skill, or consistently evident in the skill. And if a child is not evident in the skill, that means they have a little work to do, because the skill has been introduced and the child isn't yet displaying an understanding of that skill. If the child is developing or consistently evident with the skill, they're on target and towards moving towards mastery of the skill.
Okay, so thinking about what those skills are in reading, what are they? Like, what are those foundational skills that children need and that parents will hear about?
So the foundational skill for early learners is definitely those oral listening and early reading skills. Sometimes they're called phonemic awareness skills.
Okay.
And phonemic awareness is the ability to hear different sounds called phonemes in words. And kids really move through a progression with these phonemic awareness skills. They start out being able to rhyme, then they learn how to count syllables in words, then they learn how to separate the onset from the rhyme, which is the beginning sound from the end of the word. Then they listen for individual phonemes or sounds in words, like where a sound is either at the beginning, middle, or end of the word. And finally, they're able to blend those sounds together, which is a required skill for being able to decode and to write. So these skills really lay the foundation for reading and writing.
Wow, and I remember with my own kids when that aha moment happened and those words starting to come together.
Yes.
It seems like they start to roll pretty quickly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
exciting time for a family for sure. And then thinking about how parents can support that at home, what are some things they can do to help support that phonemic awareness?
There are so many fun no prep ideas that they can do easily with their child. For instance, for rhyming, you can just say a word or two words and see if your child can tell you whether they rhyme or don't rhyme, like cat and hat, and then cat and pig.
And that can just be kind of a thumbs up or thumbs down.
Yeah, or yes, no, or just silly things like you can, when you're playing Candyland, you can make rhymes to go with the little colored pieces, green and bean. You can read nursery rhyme books with your child or rhyming books with your child. Any of those things will certainly support rhyming. And then when they're proficient with that, you can move on to the next layer, which is syllable counting. And that's just when you're counting word parts with your child. So they can start out saying their name. My first name is Jennifer, and they can clap the word parts in Jennifer and see if they can come to the conclusion that there are 3. They can do that with their family members' names, with just any type of word of something around you. When they have that in place, you can move on to onset and rhyme, and really that work you did in rhyming will carry over and help them to do that work in onset and rhyme. So if you're saying book, b-ook, they would be able to separate that first sound from the rest of the word. Perhaps they even want to punch out the first sound like they do during the day with their teacher in Heggerty lessons, which is the part of the day where they work on phonemic awareness. And then once they have that in place, they can begin to do work with beginning, middle, and ending sounds. So you could say a word like mat. What was the first sound you heard? What was the middle sound? Ah. What was the ending sound? T. And then finally, they're ready to do what's called blending, and that's when they're able to put those sounds together to say a word. So if I were taking that same word mat, at, I could blend it together maybe with a Matchbox car, maybe with smushing Play-Doh blobs as I say each sound, at, mat, to say the word.
Wow, so lots of fun ideas. This is
Yeah.
great. Okay, and that said, I mean, I think as a teacher, you see the difference in the classroom when a child's really getting support from home, right? That really does make a difference.
It is a huge difference. Just those exposures and experiences that children receive from home really do lead them up to success in the classroom.
Wonderful.
For sure.
Great. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for this
Thank
great
you so much.
information. I appreciate you.
I
and
really
I'm
enjoyed
sure
being
some
here.
of our parents out there will start, Matt, whatever you did.
Wonderful.
Perfect.
Teachers will love that.
There we go.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for joining us, parents. We'll see you next time.